were some of these ideas that you worked on, like the whole Mary Shelley thing, I just adore, especially when we talk about poets and poetry and whatnot. That was
Mhm.
when I was in college studying Shelley stuff. That was just remarkable for me. Um,
Mhm.
is that where kind of some of that vibe comes from? Is from your filmmaking aspects, or were these potential films you were trying to get done at that point?
No, the Mary Shelley School for Monsters comic series is very much born out of me, the comics. Like, yeah, it never once wanted to be a book. It never was a film project I had that wasn't successful. It was, or just I wanted to take from screenplay to comic script. It was me trying to figure out like how to combine my love of monsters and my love of Mary Shelley, and also a little bit of my little statements I want to make on like like who we decide to punish in society, like what women characters from mythology or monsters who have been punished more maybe than necessary. Why do we choose to make them the monster? What is it about that and the politics of that? I want to play with that a little bit, but for me, it was just really thinking about kind of my love of Mary Shelley and that young Mary Shelley who had lost her mother and was trying to connect with her mom through her writing. And and then it was just wanting to kind of jump in that world with kind of a school for monsters because I have kids and I was like, I want to do this, but I want to do it a little differently than I've seen done. And I wanted it to kind of feel like a school that was like X-Men, where they were going out on missions to help other monsters and bring them back, into the fold. And so, yeah, it came very much out of wanting to make a comic type, like a comic series that could, you know, live a long time. It could wink back to Mary Shelley, but it wasn't. It's its own thing as well, and I could explore the monsters that I always wanted to explore, which, I've got La Llorona and Medusa. And I'm going to have, I guess in the next one, I have a kitsune that we're going to deal with, and just like a lot of female spirits and monsters and I have male ones as well too. I'm not like equal opportunity, but yeah, I just rambled there a little bit, but
No,
yeah,
that's
I
great.
mean, but this was always a comic. I never wanted to make this. I have written a TV Bible for it, an animation Bible, and a
Mm. I
pilot
could
from
see
it.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I definitely created that, but that was secondary. That was, making this first was something that I wanted to do. And it was very important to me after having been a screenwriter for a long time. And especially like with my one writing partner, Kim, it's Kim O'Malley now. We almost sold an original animation we were going all the way up at Sony and DreamWorks way back when, and it was like crazy because I'm like, oh my God, we're going to sell an original animation. That's insane. That's very hard to do for people. Especially
Yeah.
back then, if it's not based on a book or it wasn't based on, if it wasn't based on a book with a female lead, it was really hard to do back then.
Oh,
Pretty much
wow.
impossible. Yeah. And they didn't have Brave or Frozen yet. So they just, I'm old. Sorry guys. Yeah. And so basically, that experience for me was very powerful. It's like, oh, almost is a lot in Hollywood, especially in that kind of, when you're talking about an original feature film. And I was like, we almost got there, and we did all this work on this story, and then it becomes this weird thing where you've pitched it to everyone, you've talked about it to everyone. Now what do you do with it, right?
Yeah.
And then it's just there. And I was like, I don't want to do that. I want to do that, but I don't. When I came at this again, I was like, I want to make something that exists that people can read or see and experience. And then if one day it makes it into becoming a film or a television show, awesome. But I didn't want to have that experience anymore of writing things and not having them be a product that a reader could experience. And that was kind of what brought me back to my original goals of being a prose writer, writing novels. And then I got into comics because a friend of mine had asked me to come to Comic-Con, and I went. I was like, this is amazing. So I'm interested in this now too. But yeah, so and comics has a similarity to film. It allows you to work with artists and other
Mm.
creative people and have it not just be you, which I really like. So I'm a
Yeah.
big fan of like working with an artist. And with Mary Shelley School for Monsters, I work with Anna Weischek, and with my Pistol series, I work with Mark Mctell. And I like really working with them because you just learn a lot from them as far as the whole experience. Like, and they bring their own personality and storytelling techniques to it, and it's just becomes something else, which is nice. So
Yeah, I mean, it's so much to unpack there. It's really exciting.
I
Like,
just talked a long time.
it's okay. I love it. I love it so much. Viewers love it too. So it's great.
Okay.
All that type of information is so valuable in so many ways. I heard another creator tell me one time, like, they really don't put anything like to like any of they have a million ideas all the time, but
Mhm.
unless they know they're going to make that series, that book, like they really won't even bother writing it or putting it out or really like fleshing it out all the way unless they know it's going to kind of move forward into something. Is that like a stage you've kind of entered at this point where you're like, unless I know I'm going to physically make this as a comic or it's going to become a book, it's pretty much going to sit in the floating idea spectrum of your consciousness?
Yeah, I mean, it depends. So, like, kind of to just give you an idea of my week, like, I worked on a short comic, that I'm going to do in an anthology at the beginning of the week, and then on Monday, I have to write like my monster of the week because I do monster of the week Substack. So I do this Substack that is kind of like I discuss different monsters, kind of from the point of view of Necro, who's the Book of the Dead character from Mary Shelley's School for Monsters.
I love that too. It's such a great reference in there. So fun.
Yeah, it's fun. And so I tell these, like, I kind of break down a monster or that I like, and kind of mostly nonfiction in one. And then I will make up some stuff that Necro's just making up about them because I want to change their story a little bit. And then I will sometimes write an actual short story from that character's point of view or about that character, like a different folktale, a new folktale. And so I think a lot of times when I have ideas that I am interested in, but I'm not going to necessarily flesh out entirely, I do explore them in the monster of the week. Because then I can, and because everyone kind of knows I'm doing a rough draft there. I'm not doing, this isn't my final draft of the story. It's like and that is a good place for me to do that. If I get really possessed by an idea, I'm going to write it in whatever form. But if I like, that's the beauty of being like writing in three formats and mediums, is that, like, I worked on one of my pilots this week, and then I wrote on a short piece that hopefully my husband's going to direct and we're going to do independently. And it's like, but I do think if I don't have a plan for it, it doesn't get fully fleshed out. But I will write the idea out and keep it on a Word document somewhere so I don't forget about it. But it is much easier to finish if I know I'm going to reach out to this particular artist. We're going to do this project. If I don't have that, it's not as fun to like. I don't write my Magnus Opus anymore. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, just.
With